Her fascinating career was the inspiration for the television show Bones. Hi, I'm Rebecca Brayton and welcome to WatchMojo.com. And today we're speaking with author Kathy Reichs about her work as a forensic anthropologist.
Forensic anthropologist is a physical anthropologist with a specialty in the human skeleton. So we work for medical examiners and coroners, for law enforcement, for the military, for disaster recovery. And we're brought in when a pathologist can't do a regular autopsy because the body is mutilated or decomposed or dismembered or burned or mummified or just bones. And we address primarily the question of who is it? Identity, and then what happened to the person, the cause or manner of death. Sometimes the question might be, how long has that person been dead? Sometimes the question might be, what was done to the body after death? But it all boils down to bones, whatever information you can get from the skeleton.
And how did you originally get involved in this field?
I trained to do bioarchaeology and work with ancient skeletons. But back in those days, the disciplines weren't as formalized. A process of board certification really hadn't been established. It's very important today, but because we testify in court. But back then, when police would find bones, they'd say, well, just take them to the bones lady out at the university. And that's how I started doing cases.
Now, the majority of your stories originate from your past. Tell us about some of the stories that have stuck out for you.
Yeah, I draw on casework or on an experience. Grave Secrets was based on my human rights experience exhuming a mass grave in Guatemala. Fatal Voyage drew on my mass disaster recovery experience. Ironically, it came out 1 month before I was deployed to Ground Zero to help with that recovery effort. Some are based more specifically on individual cases. Some combine different cases, and you'll have a two-level story operating. So I think it's like every writer. You just draw on what you know on and what your experiences have been.
Something I noticed was you discussing the psychological effects of your job. Can you tell us a bit more about its impact on you personally?
I think the hardest case I ever worked was Ground Zero because it was so massive, 3,000 whatever people were murdered in one fell swoop. But whether it's that or you're working on an individual case in the lab, you have to maintain a distance. You have to have a psychological mechanism or the psychological makeup that allows you to remain an objective scientist because that's what your job is. And if you get emotionally involved in every case, you'll burn out, for one thing, and you won't really do a good job as an objective scientist.
Victim is female, late teens to mid-20s. Knife marks on the bone, evidence of deep cuts, probably to open up the flesh, make it more appetizing for the dogs.
What advice would you have for people, the young people that you're aiming at, who want to enter this field?
A lot of kids get excited about forensic science, and they get really excited about the forensic end of it, and they forget the science end of it. If you want to acquire a skill that's going to allow you to work in a crime lab or in a medical legal lab, you need hard science. You need chemistry or physics or biology or DNA or physical anthropology, something along those lines.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.